And we are live. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome back to another Lost Cub venue. This time in our urban setting in Richmond, Virginia, where our dear friend, who we're now calling Jane, it changes periodically, but that's okay, is in the ever so lovely, so endearing umbral reflection of the hospital, which she sees in an interesting kind of way, influenced at least in part by her particular affiliations. So when last we left dear Jane, she had she had shifted across the gauntlet, decidedly involuntarily, for narrative convenience, due to reaching out to touch one of these little guys. And finally, paying some attention to a nearby reflective surface, was kind of just guided through the process of crossing. And upon coming there to the umbral reflection, even of just her hospital room, saw some changes, saw how cables were replaced with not messier, but more woven ropes of glimmering webbing, with a number of these little fellows right here marching along them. She didn't necessarily recognize them until she went poking at a cocoon under one of the beds where the motor had been before. But she has since become very aware of their, well, very prevalent presence through the building. She's taken a step outside of the room, looked down the halls, seen more of the moths, one or two, but more importantly, seen a number of these little mechanical spiders, which have been identified to her as pattern spiders, and have in fact been identified to her by one of the pattern spiders, who has been speaking to her through a weird kind of Morse code style of blinking that she finds that she kind of inherently understands. She hears the constant background hum of these little guys marching along and working. Just studiously, constantly working and humming as though to carry them along and keep them motivated. Now, she has one of these little guys who has since separated from the group to respond to her pleas for some sort of insight, any sort of insight. She has been called a cousin. She has in fact been told even that one of those moths is like a brother to her, which is weird. She has been told the difference between the penumbra and the Tellurian and the gauntlet that separates them even. And as she has begun saying, you know what, clearly I need a nurse and I need my meds because I've lost my mind. There's no such thing as a talking spider. And has been told very firmly, very surely, that she is incorrect. And there we resume with a weird little blinking spider on her shoulder. Any attempt to secure makeshift clothing for herself from the bed, thoroughly thwarted by the fact that the bed is not quite the bed. Reality seems to be a little tweaked here. And so while she sees the bed and it looks like there is a blanket on it, it's almost like they're all one in the same item. She wasn't just able to like rip a sheet off to wrap around herself. So she is still a bare naked lady, at least as far as she can tell, with a little spider bro chilling on her shoulder, like it's cool.
So as she leans out the door again, looking around left and right, just gauging again the inside of the hospital as her bare ass meets the window behind her, she will eventually just kind of like begin to slowly open the door wide enough so in fact she can actually step out properly and still covering herself up because it's not comfortable. This isn't what she's used to. That's not what she thinks she's used to. She can't actually tell. But either way, she comes out and just kind of looks around. What is there anything like anything? Is there anything, Katie? First of all.
All right. So, like we said, this is roughly the condition the place is in. It's not so much that there's a bunch of needless debris around. There aren't a lot of items just sitting out. Like there may be a wheelchair tucked here or there, but there's no extra shit. It's just that everything to you seems very much so. I mean, if you could call a building dead, it would look dead to you. So this is just kind of the landscape that you've got going on. There's no people. You're not seeing a lot of little modern things. You're not seeing signs that anyone was here, like food being left out. But where the little strands go, panels will now and again blink, monitors will now and again flicker. But all in all, it feels abandoned, except for this small army of pattern spiders. And occasionally, she'll spot one of these little guys flitting along. One or two. In fact, from her vantage, we'll say she'll see like maybe one has landed on a door. But mostly it's just these little guys and nothing else.
And if I need to roll, let me know. The moths, are they at all following any sort of pattern through the hospital, or the way they move, or they're just kind of like fluttering around, just landing at random places?
Not especially that you're seeing, like, initially at first blush, glancing out and down the hall. How long are you going to stand there and just kind of look either direction and study what's going on? Or are you just going to strike off?
She's gonna stand there and study for a minute. She's patient. Trying to figure out this fucking weird shit.
So yeah, as you stand there looking either direction, just kind of trying to take it all in, figure out where the hell you even are, and probably mulling periodically about how it is very uncomfortable to know that you're naked. I mean, there's no one here to see it, apparently. There's no sounds of like human life puttering around, moving, making noise, like speaking, anything. But sooner or later, as you're hanging out there, one of these guys has lit on one of the doors, and as you stand there, eventually another flutters past, just, like moths do, in a weird misdirected kind of way. They don't really beeline, but it flutters kind of slowly, gradually its way down the hall and lights on the same door. And just chills there, twiddling its little antennas.
She very slowly, as it does begin to flutter past her and just kind of down there, she will start to, tentatively take a few steps. And when it lands on the door, she kind of like stops, quirks an eyebrow, and will actually more walk towards the door with a bit more purpose, but still cautious. They're kind of reaching out slowly, and she will, fuck it, she's gonna try and open it.
Yeah, you reach out, and yeah, you follow along. For what it's worth, the little spider is riding on your shoulder. He seems to be enjoying taking a proverbial 30. But yeah, you wander over, you follow the moth, and as it lands on the door and just hangs out there passively, you finally grab a little bit of your nerve, reach out, touch the handle, turn it, and nudge open the door. And you'll find inside roughly the same thing that you did in your room. It's a very generic hospital room. It's got 2 beds in it. They both seem to be unoccupied. There doesn't seem to be anything really different or special about this room in particular. Though for what it is worth, as you open the door, first one and then lazily the other of the moths will finally detach. They'll first do a little dance, flutter a little bit, and finally detach, and then flutter their way over to one of the beds, one after the other, one landing on the wall, and the other landing at the foot of the bed and just kind of crawling along the little rail there.
And she'll walk into the room now. There's a few, again, cautionary steps as she looks around. I think it is probably a carbon copy mirrored, because that's generally how these things work. Kind of the backwards way. Kind of watch them as they land on the bed and kind of walk up to the bed as well. Just routinely looking underneath it. It looks the same as the others. Is this room actually full of spiders as well? Or?
Yeah, it's the same sort of train. It's the same very efficient little marching line across some of the monitors, well, across the lines, and some of them even skitter across a monitor now and again. And in particular, as they skitter across a monitor set there, you'll see it flicker to life briefly, just displaying, it's hard to translate its medical kung fu, but they do kind of sputter to life with the attention of the spiders, briefly showing this, briefly showing that. Uh, I will let you roll, I guess, alertness to see how much you catch.
Aha, a roll.
Yes.
I'll certainly do that. I'm kind of good at this, I think. Kind of.
Hey, you're good enough. That's 2 successes. Um, so the screen kind of flickers to life, and you see like jargon and numbers and blah blah blah. But you do manage to spot things like a little bit where there is probably maybe this is a heart monitor, maybe whatever. But you do notice once or twice as the spiders skitter across the screen that there are several things that initially there was white lettering or numbering, and the second time one of them skitters across, things are turning red and beginning to flash. And as you notice this, give me another perception alertness.
2.
Yeah, that is fabulous. As this begins to happen, it's kind of that soft movement from the corner of your eye, but you'll see that more of these moths are beginning to flutter in through the open door, landing around the bed, landing on the monitor, landing on the rail around the bed. They're beginning to kind of gather there.
She kind of like, I know, when the monitor comes to life, she will walk over to it and kind of look at it, tilting it upwards towards her and just kind of reading it. And seeing more come in through the door, it's just the kind of like bumbling flutter that the moths seem to do as they come in, as they just kind of almost twist and twirl around the room until eventually landing and settling on the bed. Just kind of look to the spider. What are they doing?
The spider begins flickering again, answering simply, they are doing their job.
What's their job? To make beds?
They are spirits of death.
Kind of like opens it, like the eyes widen a bit as the sudden realization kicks in.
And just because, hey, some revelation, roll me your primal urge.
Like just primal urge or
Well, perception primal urge, because you do not have any just yet. So essentially perception check.
right. If 7 and
considering, especially with the spirit heritage that you have chalked up there pretty high, you do feel the weirdest. Like it mentions that, and there's kind of a shock factor, but at the same time, you'll recognize that there's almost kind of a an urge there. It's not a beckoning sensation. It's not necessarily like you're being called. It's just you want, in a weird way, you don't find their presence to be upsetting. It's not that you feel the urge to bat them away. It's that you kind of want to be over there with them. You should be closer to the bed. You should be here for this. You don't know why. You can reason it out however would logically work for her, but you feel kind of the urge to be closer to that bed, to even maybe reach out and put your hand on it. Maybe you think you're going to reassure someone who isn't there. Maybe you want to reach out to validate whether or not they're there. But the urge is there all the same.
And as it kind of hits what actually is happening with the monitor flicking and the reds and stuff, almost without even realizing it, she's already walked over to the bed, and the hand has just wrapped itself around the rail, and she's just kind of staring at the moths as they slowly begin to congregate around it, all over it. Some on the bars, some on the plastic at the end, walking along, crawling along the bed sheets. Some of them just sat there on the wall, but she's just kind of there, and she's not entirely sure why. It's kind of confused look on her face. She just kind of stares down at it with someone who essentially would be lying there.
I would. And while you are completely separated from the hustle and bustle that's happening on the other side of the gauntlet, and the spider is not offering anything else, he has answered your question very directly. You gravitate over. A couple more moths come and land. It's not like the place is glutted with them, but there's a handsome little handful there now. One over here, one over there. Eventually, one even crawling onto your hand, very, very passively. Very, I mean, it's a soft, fluttering kind of feeling. It's like, well, the brush of a moth's wing. Go figure. One of them just crawls lightly onto your hand as you reach out and grab the rail, and finally, one flits over and it lands on the pillow, and you will gain. Okay, so first off, there is the weirdest sense of almost euphoria. Just a sudden sense of kind of bliss and release and freedom. And with it, you could swear for just 1 second before you blink, you see a shape kind of resolve itself on the bed. Like an elderly figure, very, very gnarled, very small, twisted with age, not horrific in any way, just old. And it's only there for a split second, but as you blink and it's gone, there's just this amazing sense of rightness and completion. And I will actually have you essentially narratively take a point of gnosis as the moths all begin at once to kind of flutter, and it's almost whispering. It's so slight that even with spirit speech, like, you're not picking up particular words. It's just definitely a response all at once as you're getting the same sensation and seeing something very strange for a moment. But there's, again, with the spirit heritage you have, while you could even resolve that you should feel afraid or distressed or disturbed, it just feels very right. It feels like something has been let free and let go and is doing precisely what it is meant to do.
And almost in that moment where she's staring down, ever since she woke up, there's been this kind of itching sensation of not someone's kind of something over the shoulder, just not right. Something where she looks at her room, it's just not comfortable, no matter where she is. It's just there. And in that split second, as it happens, the kind of the click of the blackness as her eyes roll into the back of her head for that second, it just almost catches her like that surprise of a camera flash. It's not lost. It's almost like she feels where she needs to be. And then as she kind of comes back into the world, it's kind of regaining her senses. That's only milliseconds. It's almost as if it comes back, like there's something looming over her shoulder again.
Just so. There's still a very large moth settled on your hand, fluttering a little bit, still in the moments following what you can reasonably assume was a death. The others stick around for a moment, fluttering, dancing across the mattress, dancing across the pillow, dancing across the wall, and one by one, eventually, they begin to flit off out through the door. Not in a hasty way, not in a train, just kind of lazily, at random intervals, one will just take to the air.
As she kind of stands there watching them as they slowly begin to magnetize away from this place. Good, probably over the span of about 5 minutes or so, a third of them, if that, have gone. She'll just kind of begin to walk towards the door, and she'll again look down at the spider. Is that what they do then? They fly around this place and find the dying?
They are death spirits. They are attracted to death.
What's that got to do with me?
You are their sister.
Is that what that was?
It's just a little blip. Yes.
Okay then. This is all kinds of messed up.
This is the cycle. This is the pattern.
No, no, I get that, but I mean, okay, right, let's go. Let's wind it back a bit. Why are there no people here? Why is it just bugs? No offense.
Humans cannot pierce the gauntlet.
All right, and I get that, and I get, like you said before, I'm not technically human, even though I'm pretty human. I'm pretty sure I've always been human.
You are Guru.
Kind of like just wipes her face, is like, yeah, I got that. Doesn't help.
This is both the most helpful and least helpful thing you have ever met.
She's realizing that now. Okay, right. Yeah. That definitely that. Go me. Great. She'll start walking out. I kind of again, just kind of idly start wandering the halls, trying to find something that kind of not even sticks out as something that's might even be some resourceful, helpful, or any sense of direction, or just something that's different because it all looks very dead.
It does. You can wander the halls very freely. Nothing will stop you. For the most part, it's kind of similar to walking around the hospital normally. It's just a maze of halls and rooms. Um, there are a number of these little spiders, and pretty much anywhere and everywhere you go, they will be present. If only because they will be stringing along the lighting, which weirdly enough is reflected here. There are like ceiling lights. It's just that again, the cords, whatever electrical lines have been replaced by webbing. Weird little woven strands of web. And as you wander the halls, for the most part, it's fairly repetitive. It's hard to really latch on to anything. Every so often, one of the moths will flutter by. These little spiders are everywhere. What you will eventually see, give me a perception alertness. We'll see how long it takes you to see shit.
4 successes.
4
And
successes.
difficulty.
Hot shit. Let me quickly. Ugh. That's not what I want. How about that? None of that was even remotely helpful, but that's fine. So you will hear it before you see it, and the thing that makes this strange is that when the moths have come and gone, when you've heard one flutter past, it's very light, and you kind of, especially as they flutter directly past you. You hear the flutter a little more pronounced when they're near you. But for the most part, they're very, very quiet little spirits. And what'll happen is you're wandering the halls and you're just wandering this maze of halls and doors and exam rooms and, bedrooms. And as you're walking along, at some point you start to hear this very loud, like angry fluttering noise. It's
And
kind of cacophonous, as if there were many, many of them making each one 10 times as much noise as normal.
as it kind of rings out, echoes the halls the first time, she kind of stops for a second. And she hears it again. She kind of looks at the spider on her shoulder. Is there anything other than spirits in here?
There's some thoughtful clicking. Not right now.
Not right now.
Not besides you.
What's making that noise?
Your family.
She'll start walking towards where she can find it, very cautiously again. And as she's walking, she's kind of like, "What do you mean, not right now?"
Sometimes there are other things.
Such as?
Usually Garu, designated black spiral dancers.
And here I thought you were going to say flying pink unicorns, but you know what?
No, there have been no flying pink unicorns.
But just dancers? People what? People dancing? That seems weird.
They do not dance when they are here.
Oh no, it's not really the place to dance around. How is it? As she just kind of like slowly makes her way towards the whooshing sound, effectively.
Oh yeah, and it is. You don't hear voices per se, but you do get a sense of irritation and anger. As you hear this loud fluttering, this very angry loud fluttering, and as you come around a corner, you will see down the hall. Some of the doors are open, some of the doors are closed. It's not a particular point of interest, really, whether the doors are open or closed. But in this case, there is an open door, and you see a proper little swarm of these moths. Several larger than the others that you've seen. Most of them are roughly the size of your hand. There are several in here that are much bigger, and they are angrily swooping in and out of the doorway. Basically, that you get the impression that they are in conflict with something pretty readily.
Totally, and she will just as she this kind of spectacle she sees as they come in, they come out, they the kind of bumbling flying that moths do, not the direct kind of swooping, just kind of like spinning wings and batting into each other, so they kind of swarm above about head height and such. Walks up to it, and just kind of peeks around the door as best she can without getting battered across the face with some wings or something.
Yeah, they will actually do even more strange things. You see at least one of them at one point, kind of dust off, like you see the little trail of a cloud as it, flits out of the room. One of them, no shit, seems to do a little like, you swear to God, if you remembered watching anime, this would be like a little death ray, like bzzzt type thing. They're very much clearly in conflict, and as you could like carefully time a moment to glance inside, what you'll see them fighting with, it is.
All right. First of all, I need to make a willpower roll.
Do feel free.
Because even though sweet. But you know, I'm not even gonna try and roll wits for cool-headed or anything like that. She turns around and she just like yelps. It's like, oh god! Just kind of like backs, like flicks around the corner. And she just sees this thing stood there.
Oh yeah, it's batting at the air. It's snarling. It's hissing. It's actually looking wounded of all things, which seems weird because these are moths, and moths are not exactly what you think of as vicious creatures. But yeah, it's being kind of swarmed by this, well, literal swarm of moths. We're very agitated at its existence.
We're just yeah,
But yeah, you whip back around the corner like, "Ooh!"
it's like back against the wall, heavy breathing. Just like, what the fuck is that?
That is a spirit.
That's a
Helpfully
spirit.
chirps from your corner, your shoulder. That is a spirit known as a bane.
It's like a fucking zombie.
It is a spirit twisted by pain.
Just kind of peeks round again, just sees the thing flailing round as that moth kind of swooping on it and just kind of flicks back around the corner.
And yeah, you look over, you get a good look at this thing, and it's hideous and it's monstrous. You'll notice that the limbs are kind of twisted and distorted. Like one of the elbows goes way off the wrong way. Like its overall anatomy is just very upsetting to you on a primal level.
Oh, I don't want to be sick. Mm. What? What? Huh? Okay.
It is a bane. Banes can be created by negative energies in a particular area on this side of the gauntlet,
Great. I. Speaking. What does that even mean?
or attracted to it. It means that someone here is in incredible pain or distress, and their pain and distress has attracted a bane.
All right. What, the moths don't agree with this shit? Oh,
No, banes are inherently negative. You note that none of the spiders in the area have taken even a blink at it for what it's worth. It is the weirdest, like, dichotomy of attitudes.
again, just kind of again peeks around the corner, sees the thing flailing as the moths go fucking buck wild on it. The spiders just doing their thing. It's like,
Yep.
why are only the moths bothered about it? Why aren't you guys?
That is not our job.
Wow, real by the books.
Yes.
Oh, all right. So what? That shouldn't be here, right? That look at it.
It does have a negative impact, yes.
So why are they trying to get rid of it, kill it? I
Yes.
mean, oh, wow, well, that would clear up one thing.
It finally tips its little body. The little LED flickers to life again on the front of it, like do. You are not aiding.
Am I supposed to?
It is often the tendency of Garu to fight Banes.
Look, little guy. Look, I'm way down the fucking rabbit hole right now. I am naked in a hospital. Like, looks like it has something out of fucking some kind of horror movie. Butt ass naked. And now you're telling me to go fight a zombie with a bunch of moths that I'm related to.
Yes.
I'm insane.
It is your moral imperative.
I mean, it feels wrong. Like it shouldn't be here, but what, it's gonna go fucking socket?
That would not be efficient.
Really? I mean, it just kind of peeks around the corner to sees it kind of flailing around.
Oh, dude, it is hissing and snarling, making all sorts of awful gurgling noises.
Yeah, really. Not gonna punch that.
It starts kind of crawling down you again. Tick, 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 tick. Because it doesn't want to be there for this.
This one's just not wandering off, or
No, it just crawls down you. Perches next to your foot, like right at the joint of the floor in the wall that you're next to.
what? Do I have like some moth death ray or some shit? Like,
No, you have claws.
kind of holds up her hands like claws.
It gives another like visible like scanning process again. Yes.
Like, I know like you're small, but these are nails. You know, nails.
You are not using them right now. Why?
What do you mean? Why?
There is a comical sense of like confusion from Little Spider Bro.
Kind of stands there, like staring down at it, like confused face, like what the fuck is going on?
It will do the silliest shit in being like, yes, it is the prerogative of your people to, and it like literally switches to a voice clip of someone like yells snarling, fight the worm! And it's like a playback in the most
Just imagine it cuts on.
amazingly jarring, like the volume cranks all of a sudden as it does this playback, and then
Fight the work.
yeah, and then it just clicks off and continues to look at you very expectantly.
And just the look on her face, similar to that of what Jack Sparrow was when he saw his ship being crawled away by crabs. What does that even mean?
Beans are wormish spirits by classification.
The fuck? Why is everything about bugs? What have worms got to do with this?
Oh god. It like kind of resets itself a little bit. Like gets itself ready for story time. The worm is a spirit of incredible power designated with the duty to end all things that are meant to be ended. It has since gone mad. The worm's new prime directive is to corrupt and to taint and to slaughter. And to spread. As such, spirits who follow the worm follow this prime directive.
Right. And that's what that is.
The Garou, among many of their annoying habits, have a tendency to battle the worm.
Wait, you said annoying habits?
Yes.
Oh, right. Uh, Uh, oh, right. Okay. All right. Let's bring it back a little bit. Okay. So that thing in there, that is of the the bad the corrupted thing,
Yes, correct.
and that's why it shouldn't be there, right? 'Cause that really feels like it shouldn't be there.
It is in what it considers its natural habitat, but by Gaian perspective, correct.
What the fuck's a guy in?
They are Gaian. Points with a tiny leg at the angrily fluttering moths. This has been going on the whole time behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Just
fucking
imagine
beautiful.
this swarm of moths coming in and out. You know, you kind of see as the camera pans on them, stood talking, and you see the backdrop of the door. Just kind of like this thing walking in the doorway, just snarling and flailing as it's got moths flying around its head,
Doing
falls
little
over like
bzzt,
beds,
bzzt.
falling over beds and crashing into. It's kind of
Oh
every
yeah,
so often, yeah, full like cinematic style, Scooby Doo style.
absolutely.
Right, and I'm related to them, so that makes so okay. So
Peru, with
I'm
the exception of black spiral dancers, are classified as Gaian.
so the wait. What the dancer guys aren't?
They
But
are classified as wormish.
so so the dancers that come here look like that. He kind of points in, looks around again as the thing's like
Oh no, they are much bigger.
bigger.
Correct.
Oh god, this is fucking nuts.
They do far more damage. We do not interfere until they damage the webs.
And I'm supposed to what? Get rid of this or,
Correct.
with my claws?
Correct.
You don't have claws.
Incorrect.
I, I, I'm lost. I'm done. That's it. I'm timing out. This is too much. I don't know what's going on.
Do you require intervention?
Oh, what?
Do you require intervention?
I mean,
By the
Christ.
way, you may have taken a rage and fear from seeing the thing in the first place because that thing was bleh,
Sure, why not? But
just
she's
to
like,
get you up the thing a little bit.
what I need is a stiff fucking drink.
Incorrect.
It kind of looks at like,
You need to perform your prime directive. Perhaps you are not angry enough.
what?
Garu's ability to act is often influenced by anger.
What? So I'm supposed to get mad?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Oh, so up until now it's been yes or no fucking answer. Now it's perhaps. Just kind of like the full like bends down, looking at it, like flares up.
Reports of Garu response to anger have been unsubstantiated.
I don't even know what that fucking means.
If you will allow me to record the results, I will perform an intervention.
You know what? Fine. Sure. Whatever. You know what? You do what you gotta do, buddy.
And the little spider picks up one of its spindly little needle legs and abruptly, with no apparent change in attitude, stabs your fucking foot. Like, doink! Like, ow! Very abruptly, which, I mean, in technicality, means you have entered combat.
I see what you
and taken damage. Would you like to roll, good friend?
Oh, sure. Let's...
You see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Oh, let's see how you're doing.
I still don't know what these rolls mean, but you know what? You tell me what happens.
It basically depends upon moon phase.
I know what it depends upon. I just don't get it.
So basically, your current diff is that. Not quite, but basically what'll happen is it just fucking stabs you in the foot. And it's not a serious injury, but it fucking hurts. And you don't lose your goddamn mind, but you feel the most incredible flush of primal rage and anger that you're pretty sure you've ever felt in your life. It is very abrupt, like you suddenly like hear your blood pounding in your ears, your vision tinges red for like half a second. It's just this incredible, and definitely you're pretty sure this is unusual. Pretty sure this isn't normal. But it's just oh.
All she knows is that ow, and now I'm fucking mad. So she reaches down, picks this thing up by the light bulb.
You pick him up by his little light bulb.
Just kind of holds him in front of her like, what the fuck was that?
Test inconclusive. You have not changed.
What the fuck was that, huh? What's that gonna do? Hurt my foot? Oh, thank you very much, little spider fuck. That really fucking helped.
The little spider is slightly deflated because his test was inconclusive. You were supposed to change. You have not. Test inconclusive.
Change? What does that even fucking mean? Just kind of puts it, like, doesn't even put it, just kind of lets go. It just starts pacing the hallway. It's like, I've been here for I don't know fucking how long. It feels like fucking forever. Walking these fucking halls, following fucking moths, and an elf shooting death leaders at a fucking zombie. It was supposed to be something like a fucking worm zombie that came here from some black dancers that are dancing around. What the
as you're pacing and ranting, you'll see him actually, and by him, I mean him, actually swat one of the moths pretty acutely out of the air. Because, I mean, he can only miss so many times, especially with so many of them. But one of them, like, is smacked pretty harshly and, rockets to the floor as a result of the smack. One of its little wings, like, all fuckered up.
And as she's kind of pacing and pacing, Haiti, she's getting angry and angry, ranting and shouting. I'm going to roll Stamina Primal Urge.
Please do.
My whole 2 dice.
It only takes 1. Son of a bitch.
Well, that doesn't happen.
Not initially, not for the pacing the ranting. You may try again when you see the moth get smacked out of the air.
Yeah, as it kind of like, it bats and the kind of like screech as it hits it in the hair, she just kind of wells.
And yeah, it makes little sad pained noises. It's having a bad day.
First of all, would you like me to roll rage on that one?
You may.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah. Pretty sure 4 is all it takes. I am, let me check real fast. Make sure I'm not full of poop. Because it has been a while. Yep, that is a Berserk Frenzy. You look over, you see the little moth, you look over at that fucking thing snarling with, like, ichor dripping out of its mouth, and you're like, you! And just lose it.
That's it. Gone.
Lose your goddamn fucking mind. Just rage bubbles up, your vision goes red, and you launch.
Spending rage.
You are.
roll initiative, I guess, or
Feel free to leap in. I will just let you have the first hit because this thing is beset on all sides.
all right. I just didn't know how you want to do this, but spending rage to change up the Krynos because
Oh,
Berserk
you
Frenzy,
automatically hit Krynos on a Berserk Frenzy.
even better. Spending rage, and then because why not swipe the claws, which will be funny because look at these dice.
Oh, I'm so ready for these dice.
Yeah,
Hey, that's a success, okay?
yeah.
That's enough. And you've got +4 strength in Krynos. Every character's a combat character in Krynos.
So it's strength, just 6 plus 2 for claws.
Then plus nothing for the successes because you just got enough to count.
Strength plus 2, sweet. Fuck numbers. DiMaggio summoner.
What?
three ag.
All right.
Unless you're doing one's cancels.
No, we're not doing one's cancel. We'll go vanilla on this. Go hardcore vanilla. Let's give him reasonably small soak pool. He's not that big, really, and he's been whittled down pretty hard. So he soaks some of it, but you do damage. Feel free to have that rage action too.
God. I'm directive, motherfucker.
Fine directive. What'd you get for talking to a spider? 1, 2, 3, 4.
That ain't bad. Fuck
bad.
the ones though.
I mean, you're getting him out of the way. It's fine. He only soaks one of that. So what's going to essentially happen, at least narratively? Thankfully, he is distracted. I'm going to have you do at least another round's worth. I'm going to blow you down to... Oh, God, my brain. Yeah, do another round's worth. Let's see how much you're contributing to this. A main attack and a rage attack. Because he has maws that are hitting him for much more. That blast charm is a bitch. He's very concerned with that.
Oh my god, that's
a
good hit.
Nice! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hot.
Yep.
That means you've done 5, 6, 7, 8. Fantastic. Take that rage one.
And then the rage. 40-10, baby.
Hey, like I said.
Another 4 ag. Can't hurt me now, ones. You don't count in damage rolls.
2 more. That puts you at a nice tidy 10. So basically, you launch in, and you are not properly coherent. You're just fucking furious. And as you come out of it, because by the time you've done 10 and the amount that they've done, that's about the number I wanted you to hit. This thing finally collapses. Let's see. Go ahead and roll me willpower. Oh, perfect. Beautiful.
What a roll.
The second this thing collapses under one of your massive claws, and you are welcome to elaborate as much as you like on how you would like to frenzy kill this thing.
That's all it is. Just come in, burst through the room, the moth dive out the way, just battering strikes across the chest until eventually it just kind of collapses in a heap of shit.
It does. It's a heap of creepily misplaced sinew, muscle, gnarled bones, and flesh. Like, leaking mostly red, but also kind of blackish ichor. And as it collapses, you kind of come to, with your claws out in front of you, covered in this black-red ichor nonsense. And we're going to say that you stay in Krynos as you come out of it, so that you have a moment of just snapping back into it as the red fades away from the tinges of your eyes,
That was a willpower roll, by the way.
Mm-hmm. See that?
I had to, because if she scared herself, that'd have been brilliant. But as she comes to and kind of sees the mess in front of her, kind of looks around a bit and seeing that she's now in the room and just kind of raises a hand up to her head and just kind of sees it for like the claws. Just kind of like eyes widen. Oh shit. I do have claws.
From just outside the room. Correct.
Maybe it's not meant to sound that way, but it kind of does. She just kind of spins around. It's kind of like, you! This kind of snarls.
You hear ticka 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 ticka. Whoop 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 whoop. Essentially. Not that it's much help. You have a pretty good reach right now. But you hear like the tick 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 of him going up the wall like, nope, not today, Satan.
Like, what even is this?
You are Guru, designated in war form. Well, the moths, for what it's worth, have started finally to flutter into various places and lick their proverbial wounds, as it were. You see them like grooming their little antenna. The couple that have been, crashed to the floor and survive are being tended by others. It is the weirdest kind of social grooming behavior. They're definitely not normal for moths.
Kind of looks around like, this is the weirdest. This. This can't be morphine. It kind of slumps down like doof.
Doof is exactly the correct fucking onomatopoeia, whatever the fuck.
This is too great. This is too fucking crazy to be any kind of fucking drug trip or any kind of bad fucking dream. Because that felt really real.
Correct. More skitter, skitter, skitter noises.
Is he hiding outside the room?
He is actually in the process of skittering around the door jamb, the top of it, across the ceiling, and beginning to like flit his little you assume there's a camera in there somewhere. That he is flitting, like assessing the room itself. For all intents and purposes, it looks like he's surveying for damage.
This is so real.
Correct.
Holy shit. Holy shit. How do I get out of here?
Out of where?
It's get like. Well, how do I get rid of this? This first. It's kind of like holds up the claws. It's like. Ugh.
Have you tried being human?
What is that? What does that even mean?
The shifting process is under researched. Have you tried being human?
You know what? She just kind of like does an eye. It's like, try and be human.
Does she actually take a moment and be like, I would love to be human right now. I would like to just be me and look roughly like this. And you do think that. And there is the creepiest shifting of bone and muscle, and it's weirdly enough for reverting to breed, it's relatively painless. It's so fast that you barely have a second to think about it. But yeah, you
Kind
just snap back to Hamid.
opens her eyes back up, looks around.
Results notated.
That is so dumb. Oh my god. What the all right. Okay. I've had enough Crazy Town for one day. How the fuck do I get out of here? I got some shit to figure out. I I I may be some whatever thing you think I am. And you know what? I'm believing it now. But I don't know who I am, and I need to find that out. And I don't think being here is going to help that.
Do you mean here locationally or spiritually?
Spiritually?
To return to the Delirian, you must pierce the gauntlet.
It's kind of like, again, it's like, what does that even mean?
By all recorded reports, a reflective surface aids in this process.
What, so I can get here the same way I got in?
Correct.
She just kind of like start to crawl a bit and then pick herself up and walk with a bit of a hurry back to her room.
Oh, there you go. Little guy clitters behind you.
Now, if the door is shut, she just bursts through it. It's like wham, no fucks given.
I believe you left your door open, so you're good.
Someone might have closed it. But she runs through, kind of slides down, and just kind of crawls up to where the desk thing was, and just kind of stares at it.
I'll give you a quick wits check if you would like.
A wits roll? It's been years.
It's been 84 years.
And I took this as my specialty because I hate myself. Wits or just wits or anything else?
Just flat wits. That is enough. It occurs to you that depending on how things go, perhaps having your hands covered in blood and ichor would be a bad thing when you reappeared magically.
Kind of looks at her hands. Oh god, they're covered in blood and ichor. It's kind of looks around for the spider that's kind of following her as he kind of like at this point trails in.
He really does. He's just kind of trailing behind you. This is very educational for him.
Is there any way I can get like this shit off my hands?
Yes.
Would you like to direct me to that way?
It picks up a tiny leg and just kind of roughly points at where the bathroom is.
It's kind of... What? So you're telling me the bathroom actually works?
Technically.
Oh god, what does technically mean? She starts getting up and walking over to it.
And you walk into the weirdest, like, busted up reflection of the bathroom. Wherein, I mean, the settings are there. There is a shower stall. It looks kind of rusty. You're not sure you want to touch anything, really. Toilet's about the same. Sink's about the same.
Well, you know what? There's blood on her hand. This is worse things than rust.
Yeah.
What? She's not cut. She ain't gonna get tetanus. She's fine. Just kind of like go up to the sink, try and turn on some water, stick a hand underneath, like look away, like ugh. You do. You turn on the faucet, and
It's I mean, did you really expect anything to be normal in this situation? Let me find them because I
Oh
love
god,
them.
here they come. I know what's coming.
I feel like you may have in fact seen them before in the other video. But what comes out of the faucet is water. Technically, the water looks like this.
Kind of like,
Most of them sputter out the faucet, gleefully bounce around a little bit, droplets flying, and then jump down the drain. They seem
kind of,
perfectly happy with this weird cycle.
are her hands clean?
At least one of them perches on you. It actually like most of them feel like water. Like your hands can run right through them. And several of them they do rinse off some of the blah. One of them renders himself solid enough to kind of cling to your hand and dangle from it.
She just kind of like slowly turns her head back, like, oh god, what's that? It's on me. It's on me. What the fuck?
I mean, it feels like cool water, really. And it looks up and simply states, "You are very like, not spider talk. You're very dirty. Would you like me to cleanse you? You have done us a favor."
It's just the kind of look of like mouth half open, eyebrows hit the roof, just slowly nods. It's like, uh-huh.
And it does. It weirdly enough, it kind of splishes itself up and does like some anime style little loop de loops around your hands, spattering them as it goes, spattering off the physical signs of the thing. But it also does kind of glow a bit and finally splashes itself down across your hands and then out the drain, seeming to be quite done. You do get this weird sense of just kind of it's almost like getting hit with like a nose full of fresh air. Whatever it did.
And looks down at her hands. They're clean. It's like,
They are.
look, turns. It's the spider watching.
The spider is perched right outside the doorway.
Kind of looks at him. It's like, technically, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna.
Water spirits are generally considered benevolent.
Right. I'm gonna. I'm. I'm gonna go. Kind of walks past him, like stepping over back towards the cabinet. It's kind of reflective.
Mm-hmm.
Stares into it real hard.
They stare real good. And I will let you say that you're taking your time because I am reinstituting the take your time rule, which means it takes 5 minutes, but you succeed.
I mean, I was fucking rolling. I'm a baller.
I mean, if you really want to in the middle of the city, you can.
I mean, that doesn't mean shit to me. I'll roll it.
I am going to say, for all intents and purposes, you do not get to fucking, like, get caught in the webs on your first fucking arc, young man. I refuse to end your story that early. I'm not done with you yet, so for the moment.
Alright, she falls through after taking her time to suddenly just like, "Ooh."
Yeah, and you get a weird disorienting wrench for a moment, and then you are back in a perfectly normal hospital room. Hilariously enough, laying on your clothes.
So she's still naked.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like pops her head up, it's like, huh. Looks around. Hair kind of like strewn across in front of her face.
Everything looks perfectly normal.
Does
Your pamphlets are splayed out everywhere.
Does it look like anybody's been in here?
I mean, not that you could tell.
Just slowly stand up, look around, look outside, like not moving towards the window because she's nude. Well, then look outside the window and seeing like the city, just kind of like the sounds and the side of the city, just kind of like bustling.
Oh yeah, the ambient noise is all back. Everything.
I'm insane. That's it. I am in Fucking insane. He slowly starts putting her clothes back on.
You do. And on that charming note, with her sanity firmly in question, we will leave Jane here in this charming little hospital room and call it a night.